Scientists have been the ones in charge of answering some of the most important questions in human life. However, all of their knowledge and curiosity for everything around us is not enough. There are weird and mysterious things that just have no explanation, and not even scientists have been able to understand them. Today, we'll know some of these things in this top 5 most mysterious events science can't explain. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. This is undoubtedly one of the biggest mysteries humanity has ever faced. Thousands of scientists have taken the task to get a logical explanation for this mysterious phenomenon, but no answer seems to be the right one. For more than 100 years, the Bermuda Triangle has been the protagonist of multiple stories of ships and planes disappearing. Once these objects get in this triangle, they seem to get into another dimension because nobody knows anything else about them. Many people speculate about what happens in this area. Some say there really is a portal to a different dimension. Others say there are mysterious spirits under the water or forces from another world that intervene in human life, and they are responsible for the disappearances of all those ships and airplanes. However, in 2017, a group of scientists from NASA said they finally found the answer to this mystery. They said there was a group of strange clouds over the Bermuda Triangle area which were responsible for the huge waves generated there. These waves wrecked the ships and made the airplanes fall and suffer the same destiny. But this theory didn't have very much acceptance because there are not only ships and airplanes lost. That happens everywhere in the world after all. The most curious about this area is that there's no trace of the objects once they get into the zone. It's as if something swallows them completely and they never get out again. This place's particular condition is so renowned that it has been the inspiration of a huge number of movies, books, and all sorts of stories that won't stop highlighting how weird and particular this place is. The most important is that despite all of the mystery surrounding this triangle, it's still a common route for both vessels and airplanes, which are apparently unafraid to get into this area and get lost forever and never be seen again. Despite the years and the advances of technology, and also despite the clouds discovered by NASA, there is no convincing explanation about what happens in the mysterious and incredible place. Number 4. Where does intuition come from? Have you ever felt the uncontrollable impulse of doing something in specific, but you find no logical explanation? Well, that strange impulse that apparently comes from nowhere is what is known as intuition. Intuition is that small hunch you have that often makes you take some decisions. Most of the times, those decisions end up being the right ones. But despite we all have that kind of sixth sense, science hasn't been able to figure out where this came from or how it works yet. Due to intuition is present in all of us, but nobody knows how to explain it. It has become the main topic of several debates. Some people assure that there's no such thing, while others assert the opposite. We have no idea on how these processes work, and this is something that blows the scientific community members' minds. Despite scientists have designed several experiments to prove that people make decisions based on intuition, this doesn't mean they know intuition's origins or how does it work. Certainly, the most of people is capable of using intuition in a practical way without even realize what they're doing. But why do they do this is still a mystery. It is also a mystery why does this enigmatic decision-making mechanism actually ends up well. On the other hand, the scientific community did prove that there's a strange behavior in the brain related to the capability to collect all kinds of data, information, probabilities, and the calculation of events. But nothing concrete about intuition has been capable to be measured. This is something kind of curious if you consider intuition is something used very often, and nobody can teach another how to use it. Intuition is just there, and everybody knows what it is and how to use it. Maybe that's the reason why scientists are so interested in finding out how it works exactly. But unfortunately, they still don't get it. Another curious fact is that women seem to have a better intuition than men. They seem to know a lot about it, except from its origins. Number 3. Deja vu. This is undoubtedly one of the most interesting events a human being can experience. This is something quite strange, and everybody has had at least one in their lives. And if you haven't, well, let us say that's even weirder than having a deja vu. But why deja vu? Well, this term means already seen in French, and we suppose they kept this name because it sounds cooler in French than in any other language. But this pair of words are simply perfect to explain what's happening in those cases. If you're one of those weirdos that have never experienced something like this in your life, we'll tell you how it is. Those are the moments in which you live something and you have the feeling that you've lived that before. Just like instead of living it, you were remembering that event. It sounds pretty weird, right? Well, it actually is. Moreover, if you have a deja vu with a person you just met. Think about it. If you just met this person, how in the world would you feel that you've lived any experience with that person in the past? The weirder it might seem, the truth is that this is a pretty common event. Many people believe this has a mystic meaning, and if you have a deja vu, it's because you actually lived something with that person in a past life. There are even several types of déjà vu. We have the déjà vécu, which means already lived. This is the case in which people believe they've already lived the current experience. And the déjà sente, which means already felt, and it refers to those times in which people think they've already felt what they're feeling now. In fact, it is said that some people suffer from chronic déjà vu. This means that they often feel they already lived the experiences they are currently living. This must be pretty crazy if you think about it. This is a very weird sensation, so much so that you may think you're asleep for a few seconds despite you're wide awake. Science has wanted to give a good explanation for this phenomenon, but the truth is, it hasn't been able to find anything relevant to explain where does the mysterious sensation comes from. Number 2. How was Stonehenge created? If there's any monument that is as famous as mysterious, that must be definitely Stonehenge. This rocky monument has had the archaeologists and scientists busy for a while. This monument is located in England, but it is famous in the whole world due to the strange stories around its origins. If you never knew of its existence, well, you know it now, and you're about to know what makes it so interesting. Many people go to this place due to so much more than a good vacation picture. Everybody wants to experience what it feels to be in a place so full of mysteries and history. This monument is pretty old, and it was a custom at the time to build this kind of place for several purposes. There were some selected places where there was a bigger connection with the spiritual world. Well, it seems that this is the reason why this specific monument is located in this spot. But the real dilemma is that the experts do not agree on which was the real function of this monument. Most of them say this had a religious purpose and that the whole construction was a great altar where the English people from the 13th century used to make different spiritual ceremonies. There's even some people who say there was a group of houses surrounding these stones, but they disappeared in time. Please notice that these buildings are from the year 3100 BC, which means a long time ago. But beyond the fact of knowing which was the purpose this monument was used for, the real question we're all wondering is, how did these rocks get to that place? Obviously, today, it would be really easy to move those stones or even any bigger stones, because we have a lot of transport technologies. But do you remember when we said that they were pretty old, even older than Christ? Well, in that moment, technology was not really common, indeed, and this detail has been the reason to create many crazy theories about how the stones were brought there. These theories, of course, include aliens. No wonder why. Yes, I know. Aliens are always present when there's something mysterious around, as if there isn't any other planet besides Earth where they can put the things they don't want to keep. But let's not focus on this. The interesting point here is that nobody knows how was it possible these huge stones to get there, and in such a particular way. Number 1. Shroud of Turin. If there's any event that really changed the course of history, it was Jesus Christ's birth. Beyond any of your personal beliefs, there's no doubt that there was a before and an after in history. And we're not the ones saying that, as there's a reason why we talk about a BC and an AD era. There are plenty of mysteries around Jesus' life, his miracles, his disciples, among many other things. But undoubtedly, one of the most shocking events was his death, and all the hours right before and right after that. During this period of time, the most amazing things occurred, just like his resurrection. It is precisely his death, the event related to the Shroud of Turin. But what is this exactly? If you haven't heard anything about this, let us tell you that this is a linen cloth that shows the injuries and traumatisms typical of a person that is about to be crucified. And the controversy begins because several people are sure that this mantle has a silhouette of a face on it, and that happens to be Jesus Christ's face. This is a delicate topic for theologists, scientists, and historians. We're pretty sure that a piece of cloth has never been so studied. Year after year, this piece of fabric has been put under the lens of the most advanced microscopes, and it has visited the most extraordinary laboratories in the world. Many people say this shroud is the cloth they put over Jesus Christ's bleeding skin after his crucifixion, and when it touched his face, this was imprinted in the fabric. This is the reason why the object has been so examined, but for the moment, it has only been confirmed that it is really blood that's in there. What nobody understands is how did the face get so clear in the fabric? Another important question is, how did a piece of fabric that's so old could be in such good physical conditions even today? Here's where many people have started to say this can only be a miracle because there's not any explanation for this. The more that scientists study this mantle, the less clarity they get for this. Yes, it has blood on it. Yes, this cloth belongs to the time period in which Jesus was alive. But nobody knows how that picture was drawn in the fabric and if it really is Jesus Christ's face. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited TheFinestPost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read? If not, click the link in the description.